One way of determining whether the Book of Abraham is a translation of an underlying Egyptian document, or if it was originally composed in English, is to see if the text contains what might be called Egyptianisms, or literary and linguistic features of the Egyptian language. The presence of Egyptianisms in the text of the Book of Abraham might indicate some knowledge of Egyptian on Joseph Smith's part, because Egyptian was not really understood in Joseph Smith's day. Any knowledge of Egyptian Joseph Smith may have possessed could only have come by revelation. A careful reading of the Book of Abraham does reveal some potential Egyptianisms in the English text. For example, the earliest manuscript containing Abraham 1:17 reads, "And this because their hearts are turned, they have turned their hearts away from me." The phrase, "their hearts are turned," was crossed out, and "they have turned their hearts" was written immediately afterwards. In Egyptian, of the time period of the Joseph Smith papyri, the passive is expressed by the use of a third-person plural, so the two phrases would be identical in Egyptian. The translator has to decide which way to render the passage. Another type of Egyptianism in the Book of Abraham is paronomasia, or wordplay. Paronomasia is an attested feature in ancient Egyptian literature. In Abraham 3, the Lord showed Abraham a panoramic view of the cosmos and then a vision of the premortal council in heaven. The conversation between Abraham and the Lord shifts from a discussion of heavenly bodies to spiritual beings halfway through the chapter. This reflects a play on words that Egyptians often use between a star, ach, and a spirit, ich. The shift is done by means of a comparison. Now, if there be two things, one above the other, and the moon be above the earth, then it may be that a planet or a star, ach, may exist above it. As also, if there be two spirits, ich, and one shall be more intelligent than the other. In an Egyptian context, the play on words would strengthen the parallel. The Egyptian play on words between star and spirit allows the astronomical teachings to flow seamlessly into teachings about the pre-existence which follow immediately hereafter. The question remains whether Abraham himself was responsible for these Egyptianisms, or if they were the result of later scribes and copyists. Abraham appears to have been writing to a non-Egyptian audience, presumably his own descendants, and it is currently unknown what language he originally spoke. While Abraham taught the relationship between stars and spirits to the Egyptians, and their own language would have supported paronomasia, it is possible that these Egyptianisms were introduced in the circa 300 BC copy of Abraham's writings and were preserved on papyri acquired by Joseph Smith. This in turn would potentially explain how Egyptianisms appear in a text written for Abraham's Hebrew posterity. Well, these Egyptianisms in the Book of Abraham do not indisputably prove that Joseph Smith was translating from an ancient Egyptian. They are consistent with his claims to have done so.